Alrighty, so I want to piggyback on the video that I made yesterday morning about the whole layoff deal, and it was more of kind of a rant about, you know, oh, well, the game's in a negative state. I'm in a negative state about the game. Here's why. Here's what I'm doing instead. Yada, yada, yada. It was just a lot of me just blabbering on about my frustrations with the game and not really discussing the layoffs or having a real objective point. So I want to make a part two to kind of correct that. So with that, let's kind of dive into it, right? So in that video, I mentioned about the 45% below the projections for pre-orders for Final Shape being one of the main reasons that the layoffs occurred, you know, and how the CEO, he came out, he was like, hey, so we kept the right people to finish Final Shape and all of the important stuff is done, and that's who we let go of people who, he didn't say he let go of people that weren't necessary anymore, but it kind of felt like that. That's kind of where my sentiment was at. Um, you know, but the reality of it is a lot of, at least in my personal beliefs, I feel like a lot of the front loading of the work is done, right? That Michael Salvatore probably did, recorded, he was let go. A lot of the, I'm sure a lot of developers and insiders, people who keep servers running, they were all probably let go because a lot of the front end was done, right? The base concept for like the campaign and guns and stuff like that, I guarantee you a majority of that development was already handled. And that is why a majority of people were let go, on top of the fact that Final Shape pre orders were low and community sentiment for the game is very low. And so overall, Destiny isn't in. It's not in a great place and it could be much better. And from watching a few different content creators share their thoughts about it, it sounds like that because a lot of this work was done ahead of time, they just pulled the plug. But now you have a significant portion, I think Datto said it was 8% of the workforce around Destiny was dropped. You now have a good chunk of people missing. You have community managers that were let go, people who are our direct line of communication. Those are gone. And you have people who were begging Bungie, were begging upper management, like, hey, please make changes. We are sharing with you player feedback. Please make changes that will retain players. Because for a lot of us, myself included, we want to see where this ends, but we do not want to support the game in its worst state. At least for me. I do not want to support Bungie and Destiny 2 in the current state that it's in. Because in all facets of the game, it's been the same monotonous loadouts and issues in game, right? If you're playing PvP, you got Immortal, Cloudstrike, Peacekeeper, Titans all day long. If you're in PvE, you're probably doing rockets for DPS. You're probably using a sword for DPS. It's the same thing that it's been for months on months now. So preparing for things like day one raids, my thought process being, oh, I can go play other games because I don't really want to play Destiny. And then I won't have to grind when I come back because I already have all these things that are considered some of the best in slot for different types of encounters. I'll be good to go. That's been my sentiment for the last couple raids. You know, going into it, I think the last time I really prepped for a raid was Root of Nightmares because I played a different class than what I'm used to. So I chose to go out of my way to grind different, build for different builds, farming artifice armor, farming Grandmaster Nightfalls to get materials so that I could masterwork exotics that are going to be best in slot for these situations. And then, I showed up, we cleared, hooray, happy days. Coming into Crota, it was like, all right, well, they didn't increase the level cap, and I already have all these things that are considered best in slot or that I have crafted. Okay, cool. No extra work needs to be done. I'm going to go do what I want to do. I will come back to Destiny when it's time. Then, it's just how it is. You know, I'm not going to play something I'm not interested in at the time. Though my sentiment towards the Destiny has decreased more and more over time, making it more harder and harder for me to come back and prepare and be ready for activities that, you know, are important to me, like day one raids, right? And that is, from what I'm seeing, that is a very shared community sentiment. And employees at Bungie were repeating this to upper management. They're like, hey, this is what's going on. This is how our players feel. Please attempt to make meaningful changes that will keep player attention, that will keep people here, that will allow us and give us motivation to keep Destiny great and make it the best it can be, preparing up to the end of the Light and Dark saga for Final Shape. That obviously has been put on hold, but now Bungie has given themselves an extra, 4 or 5 months to finish Final Shape, right? They pushed it back to June. While that's not official, that is likely going to happen, given that they've cut a majority of people from their development side of things. They have now pushed back that release. But now we're stuck in the situation where we're going to have a 7-8 month long season, and I guarantee you it will be very bare bones. We will not have new activities. We will not have, community driven things like, those random events that they used to do, things like in Season of Dawn, where it was a big community effort to solve puzzles to be able to find Bastion, right? Those things won't happen because they're going to be cramming to finish the first part of Final Shape and to get that out to us. And I'm not sure where my head is going to be at. I haven't pre-ordered Lightfall, or not Lightfall. I haven't pre-ordered Final Shape, and I'm probably not going to until last minute once I figure out if my day one raid team is actually going to be on board. Um, Given that community sentiment is at an all-time low, and you have all of these people that were vital and critical to the community and to Bungie that have been let go, I'm not sure where Destiny is headed. I don't know what direction it's headed in, and I really don't know who to be mad at. Um, I could be mad at Sony because the majority of research that I've done points the finger at Sony. Hey, we're missing targets, so you're going to have to change something in your company structure. I could be mad at the CEO. I could be like, and upper management, I could say, hey, upper management failed to do their job at retaining their employees like they promised when this Sony merger came through. I I don't know who to be mad at other than Bungie itself, because that's just a personal issue, right? I'm personally upset at Bungie, but what can I do about it, right? I'm only one person, one voice. There's millions of players. I realistically don't have an impact. But it stands to make sense that we all want to point the finger at somebody, and there's really not a clear picture of who to be upset at because of how this has affected the hundreds of people this has affected. You know, but with that being said, you know, we'll see what happens. That's really all I can say. I don't have much more to say on it because I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. But I have a feeling that the game is going to be very sail and dry over the coming months. Player numbers are going to drop even harder. Community sentiment is going to drop even lower. And they're going to have to do something big to pull everybody back in and give this game another chance. But, anyways, thank you for letting me share my thoughts. hopefully everybody enjoys listening to me rant with a picture of my character across the screen, because I don't have much background footage to show. And yeah, with that being said, have a good day, everybody.